last time, Lord knows. Okay, and then we're going to make it a little taller. That's as good as it gets. All right, can y'all hear me though? Great, good evening. Good evening. All right, that's what I like. All right. Since I first arrived here in January, there has been a Senate bill introduced and now on the Ohio governor's desk for signature, effectively banning all diversity, equity, and inclusion in its hiring and its admission practices across all Ohio public universities. The effects of that bill have already taken hold here. Your multicultural office has already changed its name to Student Outreach and Opportunities. Diversity statements, a standard in most professor job applications, is no longer required to apply for a job as a professor here. Your incoming professors will not be required to prove that diversity is a tenet in their teaching, practices, and pedagogy. It will soon be illegal to consider diversity at the hiring stage, and thus, I very much doubt that the race of the applicants will be considered either. Therefore, it is well within the realm of possibility that I may be the last Black professor in the English department here at BGSU. Y'all may not get another. This may be the last lecture at Prout delivered by a sitting Black professor. And y'all want me to stand up here and give a lecture on craft, on how some haiku or sonnet is going to save the day. Since arriving in January, your governor signed another bill into law. This one bans all unisex bathrooms, enforces gender non-conforming and trans students and faculty to use a facility that matches the sex assigned to them at their birth. How utterly degrading. A few weeks ago, I walked into East Hall to see that the signage on the first floor bathrooms had been pried off and were in the process of being replaced. When I asked the administration here, what on earth do I tell my gender nonconforming and trans students? I was told to tell them that the university won't install cameras inside the bathroom, so y'all needn't worry so much. Let me say this, and let me say this as clearly as possible. Dumbing down trans and queer rights to bathroom usage or to genitalia is an act of homophobia and discrimination. It has the same effect as a Jim Crow law banning Black folk from using certain water fountains. It is a white supremacist tactic, a tool used to frighten, to intimidate, and to forcibly out queer students so that they feel other and less human. As the daughter of a Memphis woman who had to drink out of a colored water fountain until she was 10 years old, I did not think that in my lifetime, our bathrooms would once more become segregated. In my home state of Tennessee, drag shows have been outlawed, even though every single Shakespearean play you have ever seen staged or acted in or read, you were very much staging or acting in or reading a piece of queer art. Shakespeare was as gay as the day is long. And if Shakespeare were alive and well, if William were here tonight, and if I was a betting woman, I bet he'd be in drag. And your state of Ohio and my state of Tennessee would force the greatest playwright of all time to use a bathroom he likely would not feel comfortable in. Ever since arriving in January, the proposed House Bill 556 would not only ban books deemed obscene, the drafted legislation would also criminalize professors and librarians and teachers for putting said books on their syllabus, or for simply displaying them in their classrooms or in their libraries. If the law is passed, I could be charged with a felony for teaching the color purple, or To Kill a Mockingbird, or to any other banned book this state deems obscene, most certainly any queer book, most assuredly all of mine. Since I arrived here in January, your First Amendment rights that protect both your freedom of speech and protect you from discrimination based on your race or your gender. Your 5th and 14th Amendment due process clause rights, your constitutional right to privacy are all being infringed. My question posed tonight is this: what are y'all gonna do about it? What on earth are you waiting for? Until every right you once had is gone? Or are you waiting until some institutional policy negatively affects you? That you are just fine, that you needn't worry so much because you know you won't be deported? Is it because you think your whiteness will protect you? As the descendant of slaves, brought here when there was no America, when we were but a medley of colonies, French and British and Spanish, let me tell you bluntly that your whiteness, your Americanness will not save you. I know this because my family has been here longer than most white families, and yet here in Bowling Green, in my Westgate neighborhood, I am asked constantly what my nationality is. Do you think it's enough to place an "End Racism" sign in your yard? It is not. You must do more. What does doing more look like? Well, for the students here, especially for my students, it means getting into some good trouble. Protest, boycott, walk out, sit in. In the 1970s at Northwestern, angry, defiant students charged our registrar's office and stayed there for weeks until their demands were met. They were. And thus the African American Studies Department at Northwestern University was created. I would not have my Bachelor of Arts but for protest. So do it. It works. As I speak, Black folk across this nation are crumbling one of the largest American companies. Target may well go belly up by Easter. Use your power and your privilege. Use your many social media platforms to call attention to the injustices that you see around you. Write and submit and publish protest poetry. Write sonnets and haiku that will save us, that will speak to the times in which you find yourselves. Write to your state legislators, your city mayor, your governor, the president and the provost of this university. If every single student of color, every queer student, every immigrant, every woman stood up simultaneously and walked out of their classrooms, I guarantee you, this administration would take notice. Open up your mouths and speak your minds. And when you graduate, when you become alumni, do not donate. Do not give a dime to this university until and unless they change their policy on diversity in its hiring and its admission processes. Starve them out. And you shouldn't have to do this. You students should not have to fix the problems of this country that are 400 years old. And it should be an embarrassment to every adult in this chapel that I am calling on our youth to do what you and previous generations did not. And I'd like to apologize to every student here, for we adults handed you a broken country. We gave you a country where it is nearly impossible for y'all to ever buy a home with a yard and a white picket fence. We gave you a country that criminalizes abortion. We gave you a country where you can be deported, your student visas revoked for simply attending a Free Palestine or a Black Lives Matter march. We gave you a country where every concert or festival or movie theater or classroom you attend, you instinctively check the exits just in case there's a mass shooting. We gave you a country that for some reason has still not learned to treat every human being, every person, deserving of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Many of you may not understand this reference, but I am sorry that I did not build you a stronger ship, young Rose. I am incredibly sorry that we have failed you. I'm writing this speech while the gentleman from New Jersey, Senator Cory Booker, has been giving his own lecture on craft on the Senate floor for hours, all to protest the growing wave of fascism in this country. And so far as I write this, he's been speaking for over 24 hours. Don't worry, my speech won't be as long. But if I could, I would stand at this podium until the day another Black or queer or Asian or Indigenous or Latino or Palestinian or Jewish or disabled professor is next hired. I'm taking Senator Booker and Congressman John Lewis's and my own advice, and I'm getting into some good trouble. For this speech is my own form of protest. I realize that I am committing career suicide by telling you plainly that this university has a long way to go into being a place where Black folk feel comfortable, respected. I understand fully that this speech may be my last given at a state university, that I'll be blacklisted, banned from academia, that many will leave here tonight and label me nothing more than an angry Black woman. So be it. I have lived here since January, and I can tell you that nothing and nobody in the state of Ohio scares me. Do your worst. Fear is a tool of white supremacy that has not and does not and will not work on me. Do your worst. And while y'all do that, I will do what I came here to do, what I believe I was put on this earth to do. I will teach my students. I will teach them that though we are now living in some dark times, there is light, and that they are that light. My students, college students, graduate students have always been my proof through the night that our flag was still there. Where would we be without you? Without college students protesting, without college students dropping out to enlist in the Union Army to free my peoples from slavery, without y'all organizing the buses down south to register Black folk to vote during the civil rights movement and getting killed for it. Without y'all skipping school to hand paint the I Am a Man and Black Lives Matter and Occupy Wall Street posters. Without you walking arm in arm and crossing the Pettus Bridge. Without students tearing up their draft cards to protest the war in Vietnam. Without students shutting down traffic in New York and in San Francisco and in Chicago and in LA, all to call attention to the HIV and AIDS pandemic in this country. Without college students facing arrests and tear gas and deportation, all because they wanted an end to the Iraq war, or for the genocide in Sudan, or in Gaza. Without college students placing daisies inside the barrels of guns pointed at them, we would be a spineless democracy. Students have always been our salvation. And y'all are needed now more than ever before. Be kind, but be fierce. Do not be afraid. Let them do their worst. You students, you pioneers, y'all will force this country to live up to her 400-year-old vow to finally become a more perfect union. In closing, I'd like to dedicate this speech, this protest, to my students, 4120 and 6320. I did not think that at 40 years old, my heart could grow any bigger. The love I have for y'all is like the cosmos. And I don't understand how I'm supposed to go on living the rest of my life without y'all in it. I don't understand how I'll do that. If I teach you nothing else, be kind, be fierce, and get into trouble, get into trouble, get into trouble. Thank you. Are we doing a Q&A? All right, question, Jamie, go ahead.
How can we as artists use our stuff? You mentioned protest poetry. Do you have any practice suggestions on how to do that?
Like how to write it?
I'm just always worried that it's gonna come across hollow. I guess.
Your thesis suit is protest poetry, Jamie. I think you're already doing that. I encourage y'all, though, to use your platforms to call attention to your work. Y'all are so much better at technology. Y'all know me. I don't know how to use it. Y'all know, I mean, anyone who knows me knows I don't know, I know what AI is, but where is it? How do I have AI send an email? I don't know, I'm sick of writing emails myself, and so I want to use the chat GPT, but then I don't know where that is. Is it an app that I have to go on, or do I just Google,
You can Google it.
Yeah. I just Google how to write an email? That's so stupid. I'm not Googling that. It's weird. I don't know, I don't get it, but I want to be able to do those things. But y'all know how to do those things. Use that to your advantage. Y'all can make a TikTok and call people to action in ways that us adults do not know how to do. I believe the ban on Target, the boycott on Target, started from social media. It was a pastor, Jamal Bryan, who gave a sermon, but then that clip of his sermon went viral, and he just called upon every Black person to give up Target for the 40 days of Lent. And so far, so good. Costco's foot traffic is up something like 20 5%, and Target's foot traffic is down. And they had a earnings call recently. They think they're gonna try and make it up. I don't see how they will. Any other questions? Jamie, go ahead.
Are there any specific calls to action that you would like to give? And also, I have one if you don't.
You have to what?
Do you have any specific calls to action
Yeah.
that you would suggest that we take? And if you don't, I can provide them.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much legislation has been passed in the 4 months I've been here. Y'all can advocate against that. If you think, and every time I try and talk to the administration about it, they say, well, it's a law, we have to follow the law. You do not have to follow unjust laws. I say this not just as a professor, but as an attorney who's still licensed to practice law in the state of Illinois, the District of Columbia, and the Federal Ninth Circuit. You do not have to follow laws that are unjust. If that was an excuse, I would still be picking cotton down in Tennessee. Absolutely not. If you think a law on its face, on the 4 corners of the document, is racist, stand up and say that. Every time you see a bathroom decal, rip it out yourselves. Put up new signage. If you feel comfortable doing so, use a bathroom for a gender not assigned to you at birth. That is what most people do in Europe. I grew up in Okinawa, in Japan. I've spent time in Italy. This is not an issue because bathrooms are unisex and people realize that we're just human. And when you need to go, you need to go. And I am thankful to even find a stall in Japan or in Italy, like just a place to go. I'm very, very appreciative of that. I don't understand why we can't do similar things. Y'all have robots here that deliver you food, but you can't figure out I don't get it. I don't get it. And there are ways to do this. Your president, the provost of this university, their addresses are listed online. You can go to their homes and talk to them. I don't understand why y'all aren't, maybe because it's the weather, but here and standing outside, but you can protest this is a public university, things are of public record. You can these people are state employees. You can look up all their salaries. Y'all can get angry, get into good trouble. There is plenty here to be angry about. I saw another hand. Yes, go ahead.
There has been some subtle protesting that I've noticed in just all the bathroom signs.
Good.
I also noticed that they put up a camera facing that. So I wondered, how do you suggest students respond to actions like that?
Take down the camera, put tape over the camera, and film it all, and post it on Instagram and to your social media. This is what they're surveilling us. If you need a permit to film some sort of footage on this campus, lie and falsify the document and say, oh, I got this from the city of Bowling Green, and have it stamped and something, make it look official. It does not have to be. Lie as often and as frequently as possible to any adult. Yes, go ahead.
I just want to say I'm a film major with a creative mind, right?
Bravo.
You can just film on campus. You don't need a permit for anything.
They're beautiful.
If you guys have a project near those cameras you need to work on, just yeah.
Make a documentary here. Submit it to Sundance. Get noticed. You all have the resources and you are a state university. There is money here. You can petition. This is part of your First Amendment American rights as college students, as graduate students, to use the facilities here in any way you can, to call attention to things that you feel are important. Yes, go ahead.
There's definitely a lot of administrative crackdown on that.
Oh, I'm sure.
The president's we're gonna take away funding if students protest and you don't let them. I think that does create a lot of weird culture around doing things like that. Or is there a specific response we should take to stuff like that? Is that just do it or just do it?
Do it. I always tell people, can't believe I'm giving this analogy, but for black folk, I always tell people there were two kinds of slaves. They weren't house and they weren't field. They were the slaves who fled and the slaves who tattled on the slaves who fled. And I always ask folk, which kind of person do you want to be? And I've always wanted to be the slave who ran away. If that means I get caught, I probably would have gotten caught. So be it. I think we are on the front lines of our next great American war. And that war, that battlefield, will be held on college campuses. It'll be held in bookstores and in libraries. It will be held in chapels. I don't want you to look back on your lives and say that you did nothing, when you could have done something. You could have helped. There will be in the next 4 to 5 years a time in which likely an immigrant will need to be hidden in your homes. There will likely become a time in the next 4 to 5 years where if I give a speech like this, I can guarantee there would be officers waiting to arrest me as soon as I left this podium. If we don't fight for our civil rights, any government will take it away. Y'all have rights, fight for them. It's an American thing to do. Right? I don't know a thing more American than fighting for our rights. And don't let anyone shame you. You have a constitutional duty. Use it, exercise it. Watch Titanic, that was my reference. If nothing else, if you got nothing else from the speech. Please go home and watch it, or any romance movie. I think this world needs a lot more romance in it, so please watch Moonlight, watch Titanic, watch Pride and Prejudice, and Little Women. Any other questions before I go? Yes?
So let's say hypothetically you were to schedule a protest in the near future for something for us to do. What would you suggest we do and when?
Oh my goodness. I'm not certain of the layout of this university. Very, if there's like a central place. Okay, well, there you go, a central place. Northwestern had a central place. We had a square, and we had this huge rock, and it was just called the Rock, and it's huge. And we would take it over, like each student group would literally kind of fight an angle for the rock. And then if you stood there protecting it for 24 hours, you could paint it whatever message you wanted. I don't understand why that isn't something done here. There must be, some sort of signage where you can place things, and maybe paint them and decorate and call attention. We would do that. There was a wave of anti-Semitic attacks when I was a freshman at Northwestern for my undergrad time there. And CNN was out every day at the Rock. You could get journalists, national journalists here if you so wanted to. They're writing about you anyway. Where did you think I got the information about all those proposals? I looked at it, I researched, it's all the information is out there. People are writing about y'all and you're already well known and much more famous than I'll ever be. Use your power. Yes?
We have a rock, it's by Fraser.
Mm-hmm.
Can you paint it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, beautiful. Well, paint that. Paint it. Write beautiful, powerful messages. Guard it for 24 hours. Paint it bright. Rainbow paint it. I paint it all black. Demand that you have professors who do not look like you. Demand that you have professors whose first language isn't even English. Demand that more international writers and artists come to the school, or you'll walk out. They'll take notice. They will. Y'all have no idea how beautiful and powerful you are. I hope in your time here you learn that. We wouldn't be, I say this completely, we would not be the nation we are without our students. It's y'all who call attention to the things that need to be looked at and examined. Us old people, we don't do that. Everything hurts at night. We go to bed at like 9 and are fine with it. And like that's and I don't know what happens after 35. We've just stopped, like, we care. I don't want to say we don't care, but we don't do anything about it. But y'all have the energy, you have the resources, you have the community here to do something about it. And so I'm sorry that this is placed on your shoulders, but I think y'all's shoulders are big enough to carry this. Anything else before I go? Oh my, all right. Yes, and then one more, and then I'm done. And because my Starbucks, I left it over there, I'm thirsty. That's the only reason I'm cutting it off. Go ahead.
I'm a 37-year-old student.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, okay. You just think I'm over the hill.
No, when I say students, I mean people engaged and enrolled in academia. I don't mean a certain age. I was 17 years old when I began college. I was 30 years old when I went back for my master's degree. So no, it's not the age, it's the investment. Y'all have time on your hands. You have more time than us adults with full-time working jobs. Y'all have the resources here in order to create a movement. More so than us old folk with just, full-time, we just don't, they don't give that to us. I don't know why. But yeah, I hope I did not other anyone. It's not ageism that I'm calling on. I'm calling on the fact that y'all are hungry for knowledge when most Americans are dormant and are not. One more question. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I feel like there's a lot of very stressful issues troubling the country right now.
Mhm.
Troubling you just in your speak. Is there like a few sentiments you would recommend starting with? Because I feel like there's so much to cover that I would overwhelm.
I mean, why are eggs at Kroger here like $12? I was like, what?
So true.
Poverty. I think poverty is the biggest problem this country faces. I don't understand how you graduate students do it. They don't pay y'all enough. I would advocate for more of a stipend. There is no reason. I mean, y'all can look up the faculty salaries, calculate that, spread it out over a year. They can pay y'all more. That's just my 2 cents. I think they can pay y'all more. There's money to do it. They invited me here. They're paying me. They can pay y'all more. They should pay y'all more. They'll do enough work to be paid a decent wage to live in this country. Demand it. I want y'all to, it's spring now, so I want y'all to, I want to see y'all get angry. Anger is a good, beautiful thing. Everyone in here should be enraged. But yeah, to answer your question, I think for me, poverty, there should be no reason why, people can't feed their children at night in this country. That makes no sense to me that people in this country go hungry in 2025. I'll never understand that. That people are literally, living paycheck to paycheck. If I don't get paid, I can't get the car. What? That's absurd to me. That should not be a standard in a Western country. It should not be a standard in this country. So for me, poverty, I think poverty and it's raceless, right? It affects all of us. I've seen that here in Ohio. I've seen it in Memphis. Lord knows. The poverty in Memphis. So yeah, I think poverty, children going home hungry, that's a ridiculous thing. Everyone should be enraged by that. All right. Thank y'all again for having me.